Hi everyone, this is Smriti. Welcome to QA automation classes. So in this session, we are going to see the parallel execution, right? In the last session, we have seen what exactly happened, right? So when we try to run our test cases in parallel, we saw two instances of the Chrome browser got instantiated, but one got executed, one test case was successful, another test case, it didn't even, like the browser was instantiated, but it never went to the URL and it never completed the execution, right? So why it happened, we saw in the last class it happened because of our the way we have defined our web driver, right? If you see, we are defining in the base steps, right? We are defining our web driver to be public static web driver, right? It is a public and it is static. Okay, so because of this static, throughout the program execution, throughout the execution, we have only one reference of the web driver. And when there are multiple test cases, they are trying to get hold of this web driver. One test case who started first, it got hold of this web driver, and then it started execution. After that, we have a after method, right? And in the after method, we are saying driver.quit. So once we quit the driver, then the second test case, which is trying to get hold of this driver, it is not able to get it. And then because of that, it is not able to identify the elements, tail element reference exception. We saw all those things, right? So what are the changes we need to make in our framework to support the parallel execution, right? So first of all, the main thing is, with respect to this web driver, we have to make it thread safe. So when multiple threads or multiple browser instances are nothing but the multiple threads are working, right? So when multiple threads are working, it is our duty to make the things that are getting concurrent access should be thread safe, right? So each thread should work on it independently. There should not be any interference by the different threads. They should not be using the same resource, right? There should be different threads should use the. It should be thread safe basically, right? Thread safe means only one thread can work on it for at a particular instant of time, right? So let's see how to do that. Okay, so in order to do that, we can use the thread local class. Okay, so what is this thread local class? Let's quickly see thread local in Selenium. Let's say, so thread local, let's go to our site on the Selenium. Okay, so what exactly is thread local? If you see thread local, it enables you to create a generic or thread local type of object which can only be read and written via its get and set method by the same thread. So if two threads are trying to read and write a thread local object concurrently, one thread would not see the modification of the thread local object done by the another thread, right? That is what is the thread local, right? So this is what we are going to use the thread local. It allows to store the data that will be accessible only by a specific thread. Only one specific thread can be able to access it. And there are few methods like we are mentioning here, get and set methods. So get or set methods uh, can be used when we need to use this value from a thread, right? When you need to get some values from the thread, we can use get and set method, right? And remove method, to remove the value from the thread local, we can call the remove method. So get or set and remove, these three methods we are going to use. And out of get or set, anything we can use. Okay, so let's see what is the changes we are going to make into the base types, right? So first, our let's go here, our public static web driver, we have to change this. How to change? Instead of public, let's make it protected. Okay, so protected, so that can be inherited to the subclasses. And it will be static, but we have to make it final as well. Okay, so let's make it final. And here protected static final web driver, right? So now we have to make it a thread local of the web driver. Okay, so let's mention that thread local of web driver. Okay, thread local of web driver, thread local of web driver. Okay, equals to, okay, so equals to new thread local. We have to create the object of the thread local, new thread local. So done. So this is what we need to change. So protected static final thread local of web driver, okay, driver equals to new thread local. So we are creating, defining the thread local driver, web driver reference as a thread local. Okay, so now, okay, and what else we need to do? So we have to create a method, right? Let's create a public static method, right? And when that method is called, that will return your web driver object. Okay, so for that one, here I can define. Okay, so let's say public static and will be web driver, right? Return type will be web driver because we are getting the web driver we are getting the driver. Essentially, it will return the driver, right? Let's say get driver instance or something. I can say get driver instance. Okay. So this is a method get driver instance, and here what we are going to do, we are going to return the driver. So how to return the driver? Let's say return. So we have the driver reference over here, right? Driver here, driver thread local object. Let's say driver dot. So get, right? So I have already told you we can use the get and set methods, right? So let's use this get method. So what this method is going to do? This method is going to return the web driver object. So returns web object when called. Okay, so we made our thread local driver, our web driver, our driver, right, as the final and protected, and this is already static, but we have another static method through which we are going to get this driver value, right? So this driver dot get will return you the actual web driver, right? Web driver object on card. Cool. So these are the two changes we made. Okay, this is the first thread local. We made our driver with the thread local of web driver, and then we created a public static method, and on call of that method a web driver is going to get returned. Okay, so these two are the changes. So now see what are the new changes we have to do. Okay, so now let's go to our yes, driver instantiation part. Okay, so now if you see, we are saying driver equals to new chrome driver. So we are not again going to use the driver, right? So instead of the driver, we'll say driver dot set. Okay, so what we are going to set, new chrome driver. Okay, this is how we need to write. Okay, and similarly here, driver dot set new Firefox driver. Okay, new Firefox driver. And similarly here, driver dot set, and here it will be new edge driver, right? New edge driver. Okay, fine. And we can get rid of this one, not required now. So now, right, so again here if we scroll little down, right, so here also the driver dot manage is going to get you these errors. Okay, so driver dot set, okay, we already set. Okay, let's see, driver, yes, so URL from the properties file and log.info. Okay, driver dot get app URL, this is how you navigate to the URL. So now instead of the driver, what you will going to say, so how you will get the driver instance? So we'll get the driver instance with driver dot get, right? So if we call this get driver instance method, this is a public static method, it can be called without the creating the object. So directly if we call this one, it will return you the driver. Okay, so now if I say driver dot not driver, get driver instance dot get app URL. Okay, so now going forward, wherever we have the driver, we can replace it with the get driver instance. Okay, so oh sorry, get driver instance function method symbol. Okay, let's copy this one now. So replace driver with that one, it should work now. Okay, so now if you see, those errors are also gone from here. Okay, so let's make it 60 seconds. There were some timeout issues we have seen yesterday. So okay, so now after doing this, what are the changes we need to do into the tear down? So let's go down and see tear down also there, right? One related problem. Okay, here, so driver dot quit. So instead of driver, we'll make it into the get driver instance dot quit. So let's revisit this changes made to the base steps one more time. Okay, so what we did with the help of the thread local, we have defined our driver to be a thread local of the web driver, and then we made that as the protected, static, and final. Final means its value cannot be changed now. Okay, so now after this, what we did, if you scroll down, return, we created a method, public method, which is going to return the driver instance, web driver instance. Okay, that name is get driver instance, method name is get driver instance. And then in the before method, we did few changes. Okay, so the changes is so while setting up the chrome driver, different drivers, we said driver dot set new chrome driver. Okay, and driver dot set new Firefox driver, and driver dot set new edge driver. So we are passing the driver information. And then if driver not equals to null, if driver is not equals to null, then we're going to do the get driver instance dot get app URL, get driver instance manage window dot maximize, all these things. Like here we replace the driver with our get driver instance method, the static method, so it is going to return you the driver. Okay, driver object. And now similarly in the tear down, if you go to the tear down, you can see the driver dot quit is also get changed to get driver instance dot quit. Okay, So that those all are the changes we made into the our this one base steps. So if you see here, if you see, it will be showing 6 related problems. Let's see, because of this change, what are the related places we need to make the changes as well, right? So it will be our test cases related change. Let's see, let's go to test cases. Okay, so if you see here, right, okay, base types is done, and then on classified, okay, so custom listener, on test failure, add capture. Okay, so let's go to test case on test failure. Okay, this is what we need to change. Okay, so if we go to the okay, that is a change we need to do, as well as we have to change the test cases, right? So if you see here, so now let's go here, base steps dot driver. Instead of that, let's say get driver instance. Okay, get driver instance. So this is done. Now let's go to the tests and see tc01. So where and all we need to change. So okay, here. So now home page equals to new home page. So here you say get driver instance, here also get driver instance. Okay, and the other one sign up page. Okay, this is done, both the changes are done here. And then the next one is tc02 user login. So let's see here what are the changes we need to do. So all the driver instances what we are initiating the or declaring or creating the object for the page classes, we need to pass that one, right? So now let's call the get driver instance method, which will return you the driver. Okay, so now if you see, these three are also done. So now if I save all of them and I get rid of this one, if I go to the base steps now, where is my base steps? So go to the base steps and see these problems, 6 related problems are gone now. So we don't have any problems now. Okay, so all those 6 problems are done, right? So let's see, where is our tc02? Let's see here. Okay, log out, just make it 5000. Okay, that's okay. So cool. And then if you see, then let's run it and see how exactly it is working. So Chrome run. Okay, so opening, compiling. Okay, it's compiling. Okay, it's going to start now. Okay, see, now 2 instances of the browser got instantiated. So now one test case is executing, going to automation exercise, clicked on sign up or login, and here it is logging in also, right? So if you see, it is logging in. Another one execution is already done, so finished successfully. This one is still executing. Okay, so now after this, it will click on the logout and it will stop the execution. Okay, so let's wait for that to happen. It's still loading. Okay, so now logout. Because of the wait, it has to wait for some time, and then it will click on logout. So click on logout. Okay, now it will close. Correct. So now if you see, the build is success, right? This is again that connection reset because of network issue. Okay, so okay, that's fine. But if you see, this is both the test cases are running and both the test cases are getting passed. Okay, so both the test cases are getting passed and it is the build success. So now the build is successful. Okay, and we are able to change our automation framework with respect to run the test cases in parallel, right? So changes were like in the base steps, we had to do a little bit of more groundwork, like where we have changed our public static WebDriver equals to new WebDriver to a thread local step of the WebDriver instance, and then we have created one method like where it will return that WebDriver, and then we have changed the set the driver instances accordingly as per the whatever the browser information is passed. And similarly, we have, whenever there was a driver, instead of that we are started using get driver instance method, right? This get driver instance method is going to return you the uh, WebDriver, right? And one more thing we can do, I think dot quit, right? And we can remove this one also. We can say I told like we have the another method called remove also, right? But we never use that remove method. We can do that one, right? So let's say driver dot remove, right? So what does this remove method does? Okay, it will it removes current threads value. It removes the current threads value. Okay, value for the thread local variable, right? For the thread local, sorry, for thread local variable, thread local variable. So we need to do this one. It will go and remove the thread local. Here we have the driver, right? So we have instantiated, declared the driver here. So this is added to the thread local, right? So now from the thread local we have to remove it, right? So this is one of the clean of the code. Okay, after quitting the driver, remove it from the thread local as well. Okay, and we have made the changes to the test cases, so then everything is working fine. Now one more thing I want to do. So there is one more concept called as the thread guard. Okay, so what is this thread guard? Okay, so let's understand this concept. Thread guard, it's a small implementation you can do. So thread guard in Selenium. Okay, let's see. So selenium.dev, let's go here. So let's see thread guard. So this class is only available in Java binding. If you are implementing your Selenium framework to the Java only, then you can start using this thread guard. You can use this because this is only available in the Java. If you are using Python, C#, it is not available, right? So it is saying the thread guard checks that a driver is called only from the same thread that created it. Threading issues, especially when running the test in parallel, may have mysterious and hard to diagnose errors. Using this wrapper prevents this category of the errors and will raise an exception when it happens. Okay, so now in order to go to another step and to protect it little more, so we can again make the changes to the this base steps, right, with the help of the thread guard dot protect. If you see thread guard dot protect, right, so dot protect, we are passing the new chrome driver, right? So that's how we have to now update, right? So let's go to our base steps. Okay, so let's go, where is the driver we are passing? Yes, so now driver dot set new chrome driver, right? So now we are going to change. So what we are going to set, driver dot set will remain same. Instead of new chrome driver, we'll say threadguard dot protect, right? So threadguard GUA, okay, or dot openqa dot selenium dot supports threadguard, okay, dot protect. Okay, so dot protect. So inside that, just put the new chrome driver. Okay, done. Similarly, we can do the same thing with the other two driver also. So dot set, now say protect. Okay, so done. And similarly for here also, dot protect, sorry, dot protect, new edge driver, closing parenthesis. Okay, so now the thread guard implementation is also done, right? So now I can go ahead and now I can go ahead and run the test cases. Chrome run. So let's run this one. So this is optional. If you want to do, you can do. Without it also, our test cases were working fine. But since this is another step of the confirmation, right, you cannot have that is a thread safety, right? So it's better to go with this one also, right? So thread guard also you can implement to your automation framework. So let's wait for the execution. So see, there are two. First one already completed execution. Second one already executing. Keyword automation classes are at gmail.com. Valid username, valid password. Clicked on it. Then waiting for the page to load. Page is loading. Then it will click on the logout now. Okay. Because of page wait, it will wait for some time and then it will click on the logout. Clicked on the logout. Okay. Okay. Now it will close the browser. So now let's see execution. See, so if you see the execution, build success. Okay, not the right word. So build success, and both the test cases, test run 2. Okay, zero failure, zero error, zero escape. Okay, everything has been passed here. So if you see parallel execution, the test case 1 and then test case 2 ran here, right? So 1 2 1 2 2 1 2 1 1 1, like this you can see, right? So this is, you can see this is parallel executing. So here, why all once got executed, everything here, it is a small test case, and then the two remaining steps, whatever was there, it got executed then. Okay, so if you see, this is how your parallel execution is done with the help of your thread local as well as your thread guard dot protect. Okay, so I hope you are clear. So just try to use this thread guard dot protect as well, okay, for your driver. Cool. So Yeah, so that's all to this session. And in this session we have seen how to uh, make your WebDriver thread safe, and instead of making it a public static WebDriver, how exactly we implemented the thread local in the base step, right? And stepwise we saw we have created the thread local of WebDriver driver, and then we created a method to return WebDriver, and the changes we made while instantiating the driver, like while setting up the driver. So driver dot set, and then the changes we made while navigating to the URL, right? So, and whatever the browser related operations we are doing, maximizing, deleting all cookies, page load timeout, and implicit wait. Okay, so these things we have done. So, and apart from that, if you see in the, okay, so in the tear down method we made the driver instance dot quit, and then we removed that driver from the thread local. Okay, so that's what we did. So in the next session we'll be looking into the we'll be getting rid of this WebDriver manager. We are using the WebDriver manager, right? But if you see our this one, right, pom.xml Selenium version is the latest one, right? And we don't need to use this one in 4.12. It is 4.12.1, right? We don't need to use it, so we can go ahead with the Selenium manager also, that we'll see in the next class. So if you guys are really enjoying these sessions, I'll request you to subscribe to my channel and share this with your friends and colleagues so that they can also get benefited out of it. So we'll meet in the next session. Thank you everyone. Bye bye.